Hi, this is Rainbow Harmony here to help you find balance and peace to live a more colorful life. And this is just a quick message. I couldn't help but share this with you guys. I was just pulling some cards for myself because I'm waiting for a couple of readings to upload before I do some more. So those of you guys who are waiting for personal readings, I'm about to drop a ton of personal readings on you, so just hang tight. I have the next couple days off from my fashion job, so I am using these next couple days to catch up on readings. So yeah, I just pulled these cards for myself though, and oh my gosh, I'm just shook by this message. Basically, I realized that I've been focusing too much on the struggle. This card is saying like, you're focusing too much on the struggle when you should instead respect the struggle and allow it a space in your life. Sometimes you can't always have the answer to certain problems. Sometimes certain things aren't always meant to work out or to really be defined. And I see like in your life, you have to allow space for chaos. And this book I've been reading, oh my gosh, you guys, it has really been teaching me so much about this. So I'm gonna flip through and see if I can find like a little excerpt to read to you guys. But yes, it's so fascinating to me. I think it's like crazy that in our lives, it's so easy to focus on the struggle because our reptilian part of our brain is always wanting to seek out conflict and wanting to solve it, wanting to keep ourselves safe, you know? But sometimes we have to just relax, surrender, let go, be in the flow and accept all is well, because if you're always in that struggle, in that fight or flight, or in that survival mode, you can't really move forward and make big changes and make choice in your life. And your life becomes more about preservation, less about actually moving forward and celebrating this experience. So they're saying, celebrate your experience, embrace the good and the bad and the bad and the good. And I want to read you a little bit about this. This says, making the vortex, the open flow. When we're being creative in our work in daily life, immersing ourselves in chaos, bifurcation sometimes, I can't say that word, bifurcation sometimes happens. Then a germ seed, I picked the wrong excerpt to read you guys. But you know what? I'm not even gonna hit stop and like replay this video. I'm just gonna be real because, I don't know, I appreciate that. I love how Infinite Waters doesn't edit his videos. I like how he messes up and says silly things sometimes, and that's what makes him real. So hopefully you guys appreciate that and you can all have a laugh at me. I think this is what I meant to read you. This says, the poet John Keats called the entry into chaos an immersion in doubts and uncertainties. Think of doubts and uncertainties as a way of extending limited degrees of freedom we have come to accept from life. Artists, healers, and those undergoing life changes open up to the uncertainties, accessing degrees of freedom that can spur new self-organization. Going through the death of a loved one, a divorce, or a period of self-doubt is painful, but often those are the very experiences that bring us to a keen sense of the truth beyond words and a new path in life. The history of the world's religions is full of stories about mystics and sages who spent time in the wilderness, either literally or through some dark night of the soul and inner chaos. Have you guys been through a dark night of the soul? I have. Shout out to all you guys who are going through spiritual awakening. I'm hoping to post more videos about that in the future. But yeah, that's what they're talking about right here. Healing of mind and body in many traditional societies involves a descent into darkness, chaos, and death. Greek healers encouraged incubation, in which a sick individual was required to sleep and dream. Using ceremonies designed to loosen the grip of the conscious ego, the sick person was encouraged to let go of the familiar structures of his life and enter the dark world of gods and underground forces. By letting go of consensual structures, a creative self-reorganization became possible. This is totally what I'm going through. Native Americans use vision quests, or the dark, superheated, claustrophobic interior of the sweat lodge, to foster psychic self-organization. Traditional psychotherapies make use of the container of the psychoanalytic hour, in which a patient is encouraged to let go, free associate, and make contact with the chaotic material buried in the subconscious. From out of that primal chaos, something true can self-organize. Yeah, I've basically done all of this the past 2 years. The sweating, the psychotherapy, the everything. Like, I've done all the healing, you guys. I got so into it because I started wanting to heal the trauma from my life and everything that I'd been through. I went through some trauma. I mean, who makes it through this life unscarred by trauma? So it's definitely worth looking into, trying different healing techniques. And those of you guys who are going through the dark night of the soul, you aren't alone. Those of you guys who feel like you're going through the wilderness right now, you're not alone. It's very normal. And they're saying that the turbulence is actually like a key and a link to your creativity. So creativity simmers in the sweat lodge, in the exploration of uncertainty, in the sacrifice of the familiar. But it need not be heroic or dramatic. Creativity can occur in a conversation when the turbulence of questioning and exchange gives birth to a subtle new understanding or a true way of expressing something. It can happen when, in looking at a tree, we momentarily dissolve our knowledge of trees and see one particular tree's absolute freshness, the unique turns of its branches, its knots and twists, the play of air and light among its leaves. At that moment, we are seeing the truth of the tree. As psychologist Erich Fromm wrote, "For the most part, the tree we ordinarily see has no individuality. It is only the representative of an abstraction." And so, when we encounter the truth, we encounter what Taoist sage Lao Tzu alluded to when he said, "Existence is beyond the power of words to define. Terms may be used, but none of them absolute." Seeing the tree beyond abstraction and the seduction of the known involves entering, like the painter Cézanne, into doubts and uncertainties and allowing our abstractions and mental constructions to die or be transformed. When this happens, creative insight self-organizes, catching us unaware with the shock or delight of the unexpected truth, essence, or being, lurking even within the objects of the ordinary and familiar world around us. Perhaps it shouldn't be surprising that a high tolerance for ambiguity, ambivalence, and a tendency to think in opposites are characteristic researchers have found common among creative people in many different fields. But professional creators are not born with their heightened tolerance and oppositional tendencies any more than the rest of us. In fact, sometimes it's the reverse. Nevertheless, they come to understand that in order to be creative, they need to give themselves to sensations of knowing, but not knowing. That's like psychic ability. Inadequacy, uncertainty, awkwardness, awe, joy, horror, being out of control, and appreciating the non-linear, metamorphosing features of reality and their own thought processes. The many faces of creative chaos. Oh my God, I love that. I'm gonna read that again. Nevertheless, they come to understand that in order to be creative, they need to give themselves to sensations of knowing but not knowing, inadequacy, uncertainty, awkwardness, awe, joy, horror, being out of control, and appreciating the non-linear, metamorphosing features of reality and their own thought processes, the many faces of creative chaos. So it's all about allowing, that's what I talk about here on the channel a lot, just like allowing yourself to be how you are, embracing yourself, being authentic, and making the space. And that's what this is all about, just making space for the struggle. Professional creators have many different ways to cook themselves in the sweat lodge of chaos. Some dive headlong and helter-skelter into a creative project, flooding their minds with research. Others pile up journal entries full of stray thoughts and streams of consciousness. Others amass information from contradictory or exotic sources, or use other strategies that have the effect of creating doubt and increasing their degrees of freedom. The physicist Michael Faraday, for example, immersed himself in the nuances of nature, the beautiful mingling and graduations of color, the delicate perspective, the ravishing effect of light and shade, and the fascinating variety and grace of outline. He sought sensations where there is no boundary, there is no restraint. Physicist Jules Henry Poincare found black coffee helped his creative process. He compared his thoughts to the hooked atoms imagined by the Greek philosophers. When his mind was in repose, nothing much happened, but when it was charged with energy, the atoms collided and interlocked until they generated new stable forms. I love that. I hope you guys enjoy that. Basically, just embrace whatever this is. It's like you are going around and around in circles and you feel like you just can't make it through this door no matter what you do. But they're saying sometimes it's just not time yet. Sometimes you're just meant to allow and to embrace this, what you're going through right now, this death, this winter, this struggle, and to remember spring will come again in its own right timing, and to embrace the chaos. And if you guys are wondering, the book, it's awesome. I'm loving it. I haven't finished it, but I've been reading you guys it lately. It's called 7 Life Lessons of Chaos. Who knows, it could turn out to be horrible. I haven't finished it yet, but so far so good. Timeless Wisdom from the Science of Change, and those are the authors. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm sending you so much love and light. Peace out.